If you've clicked on this video, then I'm going to hazard a guess that your planning system or your productivity method just isn't quite working out for you. So if that is the case, in this video, we're going to look at some reasons why it's not working, as well as some actionable tips to help you turn things around. Hey there, planner friend, I'm Chloe, and as I said in the intro, we're going to be looking at reasons why your current planner system or productivity method isn't quite working out for you. And we're going to get straight into it with number one, which is assumptions. So the first reason, and maybe the number one reason why your planner or your productivity system isn't working out for you at the moment, is that you have made an assumption. And here's what I mean by this. You've assumed that all you need to do is to buy the right tool for the job and the problem will be solved. But here's where this advice or this ethos or this way of thinking fundamentally falls over, is that you're assuming that the tool is just going to magically fix you with you putting in zero effort to make any kind of internal change on yourself. And I know it kind of sounds like I'm dishing out some tough love, or maybe you might even think I'm hitting below the belt on this one. But believe me when I say I've been there. I've gone headfirst into just picking up a planner and thinking, well, you know, a planner is a tool that helps you organise your tasks and be more productive with your time and keep track of your to-dos so that you can get stuff done. And unless you've done the fundamental work on yourself of becoming the type of person that uses a planner, you're not going, it's just not going to work. You're just going to end up feeling defeated, because here's where the second assumption is. It is a double whammy assumption that we're dealing with here. You assume that the right tool for the job will solve the problem, and when that perceived right tool doesn't actually solve the problem, you end up thinking, well, it's definitely not the tool because it's the right tool, so it must be me. I must fundamentally be broken. I can't plan. I'm not a productive person. I'm not good at managing my time and my tasks. And all of that internal dialogue just isn't true. It's not the case. And this is why I think the assumption fallacy of picking the right tool and assuming it will fix you is kind of like the number one reason why a planning system or a productivity method fails. Now, the second reason why your planning system or productivity method might not be working out too well for you right now is complexity. And here's what I mean by this. So kind of goes back to number one, assuming that if you have the right tool for the job, it will solve the problem. Well, you may be tempted to think that the right tool for the job is the thing that has all the bells and whistles, like it can literally do everything. You can plan your week, you can map out your day, you can time block, you can set reminders, you can put in your meal planning, you can add a reminder that you need to buy cat food, you can track your workouts, you can log how many steps you've done, you can log how much water you've drunk, you can plan out a project, you can plan out your life milestones, your 3-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. Oh my goodness, it is too much. If you're picking a planner or a productivity method based on how much it can do, and you are kind of coming at it as a bit of a newbie, then it's probably going to fail because it is too complex. Around here, I have an ethos, and it is begin with basic, and it is begin with basic for a very good reason, which leads us into point number 3, why your planner or productivity system isn't working out too well for you right now, which is habits. So James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, clearly, I couldn't resist. Well, he makes it quite clear, that habits are all about making it easy, making it obvious, and making it satisfying. And really, making it easy is on the list first, because that is the key. That's the number one thing. How can you make it easy? Because if you're not making it easy, if you're going for complex, if you're thinking that because it can do everything, this is surely the right tool, so you're making things overcomplicated for yourself, there's too much for you to do, you're going to end up procrastinating. It is a natural human tendency to procrastinate on things that are particularly challenging. If it's more challenging, we will have a tendency to shut down because we just won't want to deal with it. There might be situations that are a level deeper underneath that as to why you are shutting down. You may not have the cognitive bandwidth to deal with something. Maybe you are emotionally drained. Maybe there's something else going on at a deeper level where the easier thing to do is to procrastinate on something challenging. But this is why the first step to developing a habit is figuring out how you can make it easy. And by picking a tool that is uber complex is not going to make things easy for yourself. The analogy that I like to use is thinking that you're going to go from a couch to 10K in 10 minutes just because you've bought a real snazzy, expensive pair of running shoes. That just ain't going to happen. You need to build up to it. And I believe the same thing is true of a planning system or a productivity method. You might be sitting there and thinking, wow, Chloe, you have just dished out some tough love. Or you might be sitting there thinking that, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. I can identify with one or more of those things that you've pointed out as to why my planning system or my productivity method isn't working out for me. You know, assuming that you've got the right tool for the job, therefore the problem is going to instantly be solved. Or complexity, picking something that does everything and just overwhelming yourself and then having to rely on self-discipline, which is just going to fail because of our natural tendency to procrastinate. Or 3, that you haven't developed the habit yet. You haven't made it easy, you haven't made it obvious, and you haven't made it satisfying. So how do we get around these? What are the actionable steps to overcome these challenges and make our productivity system or our planning method actually work for us? Actionable step number 1 is treat everything like an experiment. And I've said it before around here, and I will say it again. When you treat things as an experiment, you're more open-minded. You can put your hypothesis forward of what you think your result is going to be. When you get to the end of your experiment, you have something to benchmark your results against. Did your hypothesis come true? Were you right in your thinking? Did it tick these certain boxes or did it not? You can apply this same method of thinking or this same line of thinking to picking a planning system or a productivity method, in that you're not just going to assume that if you pick the right tool for the job, you'll miraculously be fixed, but you can instead make a hypothesis of whether this tool is going to address the needs that are most pressing for you right now. This leads us into solution number 2, which is the defeating complexity. Instead, it's an obvious one. Begin with basic. I like to think of it as what is the first domino that is going to topple all of the others. Don't try and, going back to the running analogy, don't try and run before you can crawl. Begin where you're going to make the most gains. Begin with the thing that if you get that one thing solved, you're going to have the cognitive power or the emotional well-being to tackle everything else. Because like I said, when things are too challenging, we will have a tendency to procrastinate. Our system will want to shut down rather than face the challenging, difficult thing. So let's get the thing that is most pressing, the thing that is holding us back the most, the thing that is stressing us out the most about planning our day or staying organized. Let's get that dialed in first and then start tackling everything else, like logging our steps or intake of water or planning meals or our 3-year, 5-year, 10-year goals. All of those other things can come later once you've got the key first domino dialed in, set right, ready to topple everything else. And then this leads us on to solution number 3 regarding the habits, which we've already kind of discussed about making it easy, making it obvious, and making it satisfying. But another way that you can look at this is, rather than forcing yourself by relying on willpower to become a really productive person, instead think about what would it take for me to be the type of person that uses a planner every day or uses a productivity method every day. It's not about becoming somebody who is getting a ton of stuff done every day and is super productive. It's merely about being somebody who actually has the habit of checking in on a planner, checking in on an agenda. Even if you're not actioning every single thing on that agenda, at least you're in the habit of checking in on it and seeing what there is to do. It's about taking those small steps, finding that first domino that's going to topple everything else and lock that habit in by making it simple, making it satisfying, beginning with basic and then building out to complex. Now, with planner season literally upon us, we are heading into September. You are going to see a plethora of different planners and productivity methods, and planners that support these productivity methods are all going to be like coming at you if you are within this kind of productivity or entrepreneurial industry where you're going to just naturally see all of these things. I know I, for one, am also adding to the noise with my own 2024 planner. So I just wanted to give something that's going to be actionable and practical to help you make informed decisions about what you choose and not beating yourself up when you assume you've got the right tool and it's not quite working out for you come February or March 2024. Like, we don't want that. So it's getting our mindset right, becoming the person that is in the habit of using a planner, becoming the person that is open to experimenting with things and trying things on for size and not being down on themselves or the system if things aren't quite right. Just congratulate yourself. You found one way that doesn't work for you. Can you now reverse engineer that, which is something I did when I was trying to get into the habit of using a planner. I'd failed for 3 years in a row and it was really, really demoralizing because I thought, I've got the right tool. Surely it should work. Why isn't it working? It must be me. And when I came to the realization that it wasn't me and that I just needed to reverse engineer what was going wrong, then I could start getting things into alignment and actually start getting things done. So if you've liked this, check out my Planning with Chloe Substack, where I share more tips and things that I'm currently experimenting with, strategies that I'm trying out, books that have been inspiring for me on my journey. I shall see you over there. There's a link in the description down below. So yeah, until then, my planning friend, keep working towards planning a life that you love.